Today we're focusing on bills within MyCase Accounting. How I got here was in the accounting module. I hovered over the word accounting and this menu popped up and I selected bills and expenses. Now, if you're already within the accounting module, that same submenu populates going across and you can just select bills and expenses. Within bills and expenses, there's 3 different areas, and today we're going to focus on bills. We'll talk about these other tabs in a future video. This is a dashboard view of your bills. Now, bills are meant to be operating expenses. These are going to be the things that your firm pays for, your rent, your IT managed network services, your copier lease, things that are not tied or linked directly to a case or a client. And they're not going to be billed back to a client or a case. Okay. That's what the bills are. They're firm expenses, operating expenses only. And in here, we'll start just at the top and we'll work our way down. We've got our filters similar to what we have on other screens within MyCase. You can go in and you can filter by time. And then this filter is for bill date, meaning this date here. And this would be the date of the invoice received. And date and invoice are interchangeable as I'm talking. The next filter is bill status. Is it paid? Is it overdue? Is it partially paid or is it completely unpaid? No payments have been made at all to it. This whole filter relies on this status field. Okay. And then we have our bill due date filter. And it's the same as any other calendar filters that you have. And it is based on this due date column here. And then you can go in, and this is actually pretty slick. You can go in and say, hey, I'd like to go in and I want to see all my bills that have to do with rent and lease. And when I apply that filter, now this is the one, and this is a demo version, so there's not a ton of stuff in here, but this is actually pretty slick. And I don't know that I've seen this in any other accounting package that I work in. So I love this, that you can just go in and say, I want to see all the bills paid for this general ledger account. And then you have a snapshot view and you can use your rows per page. So you can always change that if you need to. And then you can also filter this by what's the status. Is it paid, unpaid? And you can start to get granular from there. As always, you can always unclear the filters. And then if you do select any of the filters, make sure when this turns green, you click on apply filter so that it applies your filters. So that's how the filters work on this screen. And then, so what is this telling us? So right here, this is saying paid, but if we needed to, we could go in and we can edit. So if we needed to go and edit the name, and this is really the description of what this invoice is for, and then the vendor who is going to get paid, vendor address, terms, bill date, due date, the invoice number, the bill number. I'm not really sure why I would want to delete this, because if it was paid, then in my mind, you shouldn't be able to delete it. But it's possible that you issued a check and it got lost in the mail and you have to reissue the check. So I would probably be hesitant to use the delete if this had already been paid. Now, if it's unpaid, then I'm okay deleting it. If we came to a conclusion that it was in here and it should not have been for whatever reason. But so paid, we have the ability to edit the details if we need to, or see the details. So I just clicked on the word details and it will load up in here what the details of this invoice are. So this is nice from a bookkeeping standpoint, because not only can you see the snapshot, which a lot of this is just repeating from what at face value on the dashboard, but something that's really nice from a bookkeeping or an accounts payable standpoint is, has the check been cleared? Has it cleared your bank account yet? Because that's important to know if you're a bookkeeper or if you're managing your accounts payable. Now, something that's nice, but I get a little overwhelmed with this, is that there's a tab here for journal entry. I like that you can get to the journal entries, because when you look at this, you can't always tell. So from here, you cannot tell what the expense was. You only know what bank account this payment was issued from if you have multiple bank accounts. And then, but this journal entry, this is giving you a list of a whole bunch of journal entries that are not tied to this specific payment. So that's where this could be a little bit overwhelming, but it's nice to be able to, you can go through here now and you can search for for this transaction just to see what that journal entry was. The thing that then happens with your unpaid, so this one, for example, is overdue, this invoice, and it looks like the total was 500, but only 250 has been paid. You still have money that needs to be paid on this invoice. You'll notice what's different is this has a dollar sign, where this one was marked paid because it was paid in full. So there's no ability to pay this because it's already been paid. But because there's still an amount due, you have your dollar sign. And when you click on your dollar sign, it's now going to let you create the payment. You can pay this multiple different ways now. You can either say, yes, I want to pay it from my operating account. I want to pay it on March 18th. If you check this box to pay by check, it then pops out and says, do you want to print the check now? So you can either print the check now, and there's two different layouts, which you're going to set this in your defaults, and then it's always going to default to the correct. So it's either the standard or the bottom third layout. And you can then click, once you have gone in, you'll want to add the address in here, Main Street, anywhere, USA. I'm in Ohio. And then whatever's the next check number that's going to print, and put in our payment. You can either put the partial payment amount or you can click pay in full. So pay in full, put in the total balance. But if I said, oh, I only want to pay $25 to this, it's going to just make a partial payment of whatever amount I put in there. So if I go ahead and I load up my check stock in my printer, I can click this button, print check now, or I can save and print it later. So that's pretty slick. And that's where it comes in handy, where you've got the bill statuses, because now you can just say, what's unpaid. And then it'll start to give you the unpaid, or partial paid. And again, this is a demo file. That's why things aren't populating, because there's not all the different criteria in here. But so this is your bills. And then in the next video, we'll talk about how to add a bill. So I just wanted today to go through the dashboard and what it looks like. But in the next video, we'll talk about how to add a bill, because there's two ways that you can add bills here. You can do one by one, or you can import information in here. So that's all we have for today. Come back next week for MyCase Monday, and we'll talk about how to add bills into MyCase.